Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Side to Side Sportscast, where it's your boys, Will, Wudi, and CJ. We come to break it all down from the courtside, the ringside, the sidelines, and for those sports they play outdoors, we outside. It's the Side to Side Sportscast. That's how we ride. And today we have a special guest with us. It's our main man, Matt Moyer, representing Bills Mafia to the fullest. And it is such a great time to have a Bills fan on because, unfortunately for Wudi and myself, we are stuck with a Pats fan. And even though Wudi's a Jets fan, we got the whole AFC East in the place right now. I will not represent the Miami Dolphins. But, if need be in conversation, I will play devil's advocate from that side of the division. But, Matt, man, welcome to the Sportscast. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it.
Hey, man, awesome. So we definitely see you representing Bills Mafia to the fullest with the hoodie. Hoodie Stag, our producer. You got some competition, buddy, because that hoodie is absolutely fire. So tell us a little bit about yourself. We know you're a Bills fan, but what are some of your favorite sports teams? And what are some of the teams that you dislike the most across any sports?
Yeah, so huge Bills fan, upstate New York guy, I also am a big fan of the Boston Celtics. Believe it or not, New York guy liking the Boston team.
Okay.
Paul Pierce was my favorite player, growing up, and I'm a big Kansas Jayhawks fan as well. And you can't handle the truth. That guy was fantastic.
Yes, sir.
Other than that, I'm a big lacrosse guy, repping the PLL Chaos cap on right now. Little glare going on.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a big lacrosse guy. Obviously, the number one hated team. Any Bills fan? Sorry, CJ. It's got to be the Patriots. And also Tom Brady. He's like in his own. He's his own little hate bubble, pretty much for me. Anything that has to do with Tom Brady.
Awesome, man.
It's okay. It's okay. You're not the first person to say that to me. All right.
No, man. Listen, it's all right. It's a division rivalry. That hate's got to run deep for the team, but we all love their other fans, except for the ones that get on our nerves. As a Cowboys fan, who definitely mixes it up with Eagles fans all the time. I know about that love-hate relationship with the fans, but never any love for the franchise. Love how you're representing one of those sports they play outdoors, they outside. The lacrosse is in the building on top of the head right now. We love it, man. So what are some of your favorite sports moments as a fan? Think about throughout your entire timeline as a sports fan. What are some of your favorite things that have occurred in the sports world?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, going back to my favorite teams, the 2008 Celtics Championship, that was huge. Being the Lakers like we did, that rivalry, that was nuts to watch. Also seeing the Jayhawks win that natty championship, Mario Chalmers, man, just draining it over Derrick Rose. Over Memphis, man, that was something. But I have to say, my most favorite moment was last year's AFC Championship run for the Buffalo Bills. As a Bills fan, I've been on this earth for 29 years. I'm about to be 30 on Friday. To see them go far in the playoffs, and I'm talking like pretty close to the Super Bowl, has to be my favorite sports moment of my life so far. It has been tough being a Bills fan. And to finally see them, having the success that we deserve and, the team deserves, it's been really awesome to see.
No, man, that's awesome. The Bills are back. And, I was young, like in my preteen stages when the Bills were going to back-to-back Super Bowls with, playing against my Dallas Cowboys. But the Bills were like the best team in the AFC without question. Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Andre Reed. They were stacked. And I have to say, it is refreshing to see Josh Allen and the boys back in the saddle. Now, with some of your favorite sports moments, there's got to be some sports moments that you just wish you didn't have a memory of. So, like, what happened in your sports world that you wish didn't happen?
I mean, all the losses to the Patriots and I wish Tom Brady never put on a Patriots uniform, man. I mean, you know how bad it was going into Bucs week, and to see that stat where the Bills have only beat him like 3 times in his career. Like, he owns the Bills. And to see that every single week, like going into the Bucs game, that was it just brings up memories. And like,
honestly, we are Tom Brady's children. I'm with you right in there with the gangrene. We are his children. It's a tough world to live in. Once he was gone, I was like, maybe there's hope for me, but apparently, Moyer, there was only hope for you. So I'm glad you enjoyed last year and that nice run. You'll probably have another nice run. You will have multiple runs. I don't know what's in my future. The only runs I've been getting is when I eat bad sushi right now. But, I don't know. We'll see if Zach Wilson or somebody can save me.
Man, I actually, when Tom Brady was officially leaving the Patriots, I had this secret desire to see Tom Brady go to the Miami Dolphins. Now, he went to Tampa Bay because it's marketable, it's Tampa Bay, and that offense is stacked. They just needed him. But I was looking forward to South Beach Brady. I think that could have worked. And I would have loved to see him terrorize the division just from another, from the South Beach, basically, and keep doing the same thing. But you know what?
You need to learn your audience, bro.
Oh, no. Trust me. I get it. It's, Tom Brady is yesterday. He is officially out of the division, right? Right now, the division comes down to 2 teams. But let's talk about your team, Matt. Let's talk about Bills Mafia, for a second here. You got a cornerstone quarterback. You got Josh Allen. He's going to hold down the fort for the next decade plus. He gets better and better every year. You guys were just playing against Tampa Bay, and Josh Allen single-handedly put the team on his back and got you back in that game. It was actually, as just a fan who's wanting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to lose for the benefit of my Cowboys, it was tough to see you guys lose that game. But, hey, this season, you're in the 7th seed right now. What do you think about your team's chances this year? Break it down for us.
I mean, I was there on Sunday against the Panthers. I just got back yesterday from the game, actually. Me and the boys went out. And to see that game, to kind of, get back in it was really nice to see, especially the run game. I mean, Singletary, that was his best game of the year. 22 carries for about 86 yards, 1 touchdown. It's good to see the run game kind of start getting going, especially gearing up for the playoffs, because we all know if you can't run the ball in the playoffs, you're not going to go very far, right? I mean, you got to kill the clock somehow. But right now, man, the Bills, they scare me a little bit. I mean, we have all the potential in the world. We could go to the Super Bowl. We could win it. But the consistency just hasn't been there this year. I mean, when we lose to the Jags, 9 to, 3 or 6, however many points we put up after being the number 1 or 2 scoring offense in the league, coming out of the bye week, it's scary. You don't know which Bills team you're going to get. But last week on Sunday, like I said, it was good to see the boys, kind of get back on the wagon, start circling the wagon a little bit again.
Hey, and nobody circles the wagon like
the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills, right? So, what do you think this year? It's been an up and down year, and there's one thing that's consistent with every team in the NFL. The game changes from week to week. You as a fan, your team's strengths, and then suddenly you get to this part of the season where those strengths don't really look as powerful, right? Yeah. But they're forever putting the pieces together. Right now, where the Bills stand right now, what do you think on both sides of the ball are the Bills' best strengths that if you're going to hang your Super Bowl hopes on a couple hats, I would say, what are you putting them on?
Offensively, looking at that side of the ball, I'm putting it on Josh, man. I mean, we saw it in the Tampa Bay game. Like you said, he can put the team on his back. And when he's clicking, he is clicking. I mean, with his arm and with his legs. He's just such a dual threat. It's insane how defenses have to play against him, He just keeps them on their toes all the time. And then you throw in Stephon Diggs, one of the best route runners in the game. we finally have that, stud wide receiver quarterback duo that we haven't had since, Kelly and Reed. Now we're just missing the running back piece to it. I mean, hopefully Motor Singletary and, Matt Breida and them can get it going. But I think our strength is Josh on the offensive side. When he's on and, he's clicking, we can, do a lot of good things. Defensively, if we look to that, the past couple of years, man, it's been that pass defense. Our secondary is top notch, man. I mean, you look at our safety duo of Hyde and Moyer. Those guys are the most underrated safeties in the league. They make play after play every damn game, man. I mean, they're just crazy. And then you got Trey White. Unfortunately, my man went down, with a torn ACL. But I have faith in the rest of our secondary. We're a pretty deep group.
Honestly, I feel like, because you said something which I actually do think is like the key to Bill's success. I'm an admirer from afar. All right, I'm a Jet fan. I have nothing to love. All right, at one Jets drive. Josh Allen is one of the most exciting things in the entire league. Yeah. Right? I mean, if you could create the perfect quarterback for Madden, it already exists. It's Josh Allen, right? But I feel like they actually abandoned the run too early. Like, in your opinion, is Motor Singletary that bad that they just often abandon the run? I mean, we see it so many other teams with great quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, but they run the ball consistently. Aaron Jones gets a lot of touches. Now they got A.J. Dillon out there, both of them getting all these touches. What do you have to say about Singletary, Breida, like you mentioned, Zach Moss? Like, what do you think? You need an infusion of talent, or is Brian Daboll just not calling up the plays?
I think it's a couple of factors going into it. I'm sorry to say it, but our O-line this year has really let us down. Last year they were pretty solid, but this year, man, the aggressiveness just hasn't been there in the run blocking. I mean, if you watch, and even in the pass blocking as well, but if you watch our run game, they're just not getting off the line very hard. They're not getting any push, and they're getting pushed back into our backs as soon as they get the ball in the backfield, and that's tough as a running back when you're trying to look for the hole and all of a sudden you got the O lineman right in your face. I mean, it blocks your vision a little bit. But I do think Buffalo is missing that, workhorse back. Motor. I love Motor, man. Motor Singletary. He's a great running back. But I think he's more suited, for a little bit of like a scat back, third down, kind of change of pace type of back. In my opinion, and a couple of my other buddies who are Bills fans, Zach Moss has been a little bit of a disappointment so far. I wish he'd run a little more aggressively, and his vision was a little bit better. He missed a wide open hole one time, and I think it was 2 games ago, maybe against the Pats. But yeah, I mean, we got to get better in the run game. It's got to start clicking if we want to go far in the playoffs, because we've seen it. I mean, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we didn't hand the ball off the entire first half. And that was the first time in I think 30 years, a team hasn't handed off the ball to a running back in a game. So we definitely need the running game to start getting going.
So that's actually kind of my point, right? Because Will Gaddy said something, and I'm not sure if it's true. He said that Josh Allen is that cornerstone. Oh my God, I can't even speak. Cornerstone quarterback for a decade plus. But Wudi's take is that if he is dropping back without handing the ball off for full halves at a time, he is one of the most physical quarterbacks in the league. He is not sliding, right, when he's scrambling for his 12-yard gains. He is trucking people over. How long, how durable can he play at this high level with no running game, to supplement his talent? I mean, we've seen Cam, Cam is he's a shell. He's not anything like what he was when he was the NFL MVP. What do you think about Josh Allen? I mean, is it a guarantee to you, like it is to Will, that he is here for a decade plus playing hard like he's doing right now?
I'd say yes. I think it's a guarantee. And I think kind of like what you said before, Wudi, you know, Dayball with the play calls. Sometimes you scratch your head a little bit at the design QB runs and the times that he calls them at. He kind of puts Josh in a bad spot, man, when he calls that QB run, and you know the defense kind of knows it's coming. I'm not talking about like, you know, QB sneaks. I'm talking about, you know, second and long. You know, we call it a lot, that QB run, and it puts him in a bad spot. And like I said, if our O-line's not, you know, getting any push either, they're just collapsing on him, and he's going to take hits. But if we get that every down back, that workhorse back, right, and if we upgrade in the trenches, then I think that, you know, Josh can be more opportunistic with his runs, and he can slide. Hopefully he'll get a little bit more space, you know, to kind of go down a little bit quicker. Or he can just, you know, sling it around, because we've all seen it. The dude's got a cannon. He can sling the ball in. I mean, CJ, you saw it during the Pats game. Those winds were gusting at about 50, 60 miles per hour, and he was cutting through those things like butter, man, with the ball. Some of those throws were just unbelievable.
So yeah. as a Pats fan, I guess and you can tell me if you agree with this as a Bills fan. I would fear the Bills a lot more, and you guys touched on this, if they had different coaches. Much like I felt about the old Giants teams when Coughlin was a coach, like a lot of Giants fans felt too. You know, and looking at McDermott, I never really put a ton of stock in having a defensive coordinator move into a head coach and then having a direct impact on grooming a quarterback, or having an intricate offensive system. And then you have to drop down and look at the offensive coordinator and look at what his track record is. And you know, where has he come from? Where has he, you know, sharpened his teeth? And Brian Daboll, we go back. I mean, you can go back to it. I don't even need to mention the 2009 and 2010 Cleveland teams that he was, you know, an offensive coordinator for. Like, nothing to write home about there. And then he went to Miami in 2011, 6-10, and Kansas City the next year at a 2-14 team to finish in last place. So he hasn't had a successful. This is the most successful he's been, right? Like with the Bills in recent years. And I know that McDermott got them 13 wins, right? I know, but basing it off wins and losses in 2 seasons and that much of a vacuum is not a way to judge a head coach. And honestly, I don't think those two are the guys that are going to get you over the hump. So until there's another guy at the helm, I don't really fear the Bills necessarily winning a Super Bowl.
Well, I just got to hop in here because I want to address 2 things, right? I want to address 2 things, right? One, to Wudi's point, right? Josh Allen, if you take yes, he runs, but it's not like Cam. Cam ran because Cam had to run. That is what he was best at doing, right? Cam had a cannon. It wasn't the most accurate cannon, but it was a cannon, right? But nothing in the red zone, Cam was running and taking those hits. It did hurt him. If you take a look at Josh Allen, his amounts of runs per game has decreased over the past couple of years. In fact, this year, he was probably on pace to finish with less than 100 carries on the whole season. But against Tampa Bay, they had to unleash it because Tampa couldn't stop it, right? So, like, that was just a circumstance. I think it was like week 5 maybe was the last time he had double-digit carries in a game. So Josh Allen his accuracy gets better every year. His deep ball, his connection with his receivers gets better every year. So
his receivers
I can totally envision him being like a Ben Roethlisberger piece. The Super Bowls are hard to win. Like it's hard to talk about whether a quarterback is going to be a Super Bowl quarterback. Dan Marino, one of the greatest ever, didn't win a Super Bowl. Super Bowls are hard to win. It takes a total team, but that you need that quarterback to give yourself the best chance of doing it. And I totally believe Josh Allen's that guy. I think he can really own the division. Now, as for the coaches, Sean McDermott is one of the better coaches in the NFL. And CJ, with the audacity to say defensive coordinators don't become head coaches and then groom quarterbacks when Bill Belichick is literally your head coach who has done that. I don't get it. That was like a huge homer take to me.
Coordinators.
But one of the worst things
I was just asking who are the offensive coordinators of those teams, because that plays a factor in how you groom your quarterback.
That's another thing. One of the worst things you could do to a quarterback that has talent is continue to cycle the coordinators, right? That is one of the things that stunts the growth of quarterbacks early on. When, all right, this coach doesn't want them, they bring in a new coach, new system. Alex Smith's career never took off to the heights that it was expected to. He had to learn like 5 different offenses in his first 6 years, right? So keeping Dable there is definitely it's a benefit. You know, is he the greatest offensive coordinator? But no, he's actually a pretty good offensive coordinator. I think that they need to get a workhorse running back. Singletary is doing the best he can, but the Bills, if there was one thing that I think, and you mentioned it as an opportunity, Matt, if there's one thing that I think the Bills could do is find, they hope Zach Moss would eventually be that guy, but keep looking for that guy. You know, in every draft, the running backs don't have to be in the first round.
Yeah.
Get the workhorse running back, the guy that you can hand the ball off 20 to 25 times. Like, you know, a perfect fit for the Bills would have been like a player like Javonte Williams that is on the Denver Broncos right now.
Oh, yeah.
If they would have gotten him, I mean, the Bills would have been a tough team for anybody to beat because he's a workhorse. And he's his rookie season, he's getting stronger. But this isn't really about the Bills Mafia. How about we talk about take 2? Bills Patriots. I mean, if we're talking about running the ball, that's what Bill Belichick did to you guys last time you played, right?
Yeah.
Bill Belichick said, Mac, you're only throwing 3 passes. We're going to run the football and win this game. And, you know, as a big admirer of Bill Belichick as a head coach, I despise the Patriots, but like Bill Belichick is a strategy king. And that game was because he's holding on to something. There is potential that you guys could play 3 times this year, right? And I don't think it's a coincidence that Bill Belichick didn't show anything in the past game. He's intentional. So I don't know what's going to happen in this game. This is probably one of the more intriguing games of the week to take a look at. But Matt, what do you think? How can your team even up the score and better position yourselves in this really tight playoff race?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it starts by stopping that run game and making Mac Jones throw the ball. I mean, we just saw it when they just lost to the Colts on Saturday, man. You make Mac Jones throw the ball, mistakes are going to happen. He's a rookie, man. He's still learning. He threw, 2 picks against the Colts, 1 in the red zone, and a pretty opportunistic time to get more points, get back in the game. But yeah, the Bills, man, they just got to come out and play, they got to play aggressive. I mean, that game against them at Bill Stadium, a home game in the snow, in the 60, 50 mile per hour winds, they got to they got to stop the run game. They got to smack him in the mouth and make Mac Jones, put the game in his hands, make him play.
So what's your boy Matt going to do, CJ?
Well, first I'd like to defend my point really quickly to Gaddy and say that you can't compare Bill Belichick to Sean McDermott as far as like grooming like it's very rare that I should say that you're going to find a defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick just happened to have the title of defensive coordinator. He's more like football genius. But aside from that, he also had Charlie Weiss, right, who was pretty good. Bill O'Brien right after that. And then right after that, Josh McDaniels. And we all know how that relationship went. These are all guys that you're not going to hold Brian Daboll like you would love to have any one of those guys as an offensive coordinator right now with Josh Allen rather than Brian Daboll. Matt, would you agree?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Can I just say, please? I want to say this, right? Because Charlie Weiss didn't have the galore that he has today when he was at the beginning.
He was that good, and there's a reason that he does have that lore now, like that.
Well, I'm saying, like, it came about, but he wasn't like in it like a super like Charlie Weiss. It can be argued that his reputation at that time was very synonymous to Dable's right now, right? Like Dable is at the beginning of doing this, and Josh Allen has improved every year. It's not like he's regressing. So he is writing his story right now as a quality offensive coordinator for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. He might even get head coaching offers, in the next year or two.
He was one of the top candidates for a head coaching job last year. Like he got a lot of offers. I actually don't think it can be argued. Like you want to talk about where Josh Allen was his rookie year and where he is now.
Oh, it's big.
I don't even know if there's a coaching staff that has better developed a quarterback in this league over the last 3 years than McDermott and Dable have done for Josh Allen these last 3 years.
They got him.
You don't think Herbert's been good?
What, Herbert came in good. What do you mean?
So Allen didn't come in good. Allen didn't come in with any expectations.
He came in with a lot of question marks.
Expectations, yes, but his rookie year he was a little shaky. I will admit. I personally wanted Josh Rose. When they said Allen, I was like, man, the kid from Wyoming, like, come on, man. Like,
and how pumped are you right now?
I'm like, thank God we didn't get Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen let everybody down.
Right?
Yeah.
For real.
But then again, Justin Herbert, second year, second staff. Listen, I didn't mean to derail that. I wanted to just justify what I was saying, and so to answer. Sorry, you don't have much to say about Mac Jones.
So
that's what it sounds like to me.
No, and honestly, I don't. I mean, I feel like we've been talking about Mac Jones for a little while now, and I'm still waiting for them to actually just unleash the Mac. Like let Mac like throw the ball a little bit, and like everything. Honestly, like every time they allow him to throw it, it looks like tentative. Every once in a while, he'll let one loose and drop it in the basket to Bourne, or like connect with Aguilar downfield when he actually decides to catch a ball. Like I mean, you can see it. It's there. It's just like we watched. I mean, the Bills' weather like. That game we can attribute to Belichick just being like, listen, I mean, I'm not going to have you like lose confidence because the ball is blowing sideways. Like it's, let's just see if we can figure this one out with the backs and play tight defense. So, I mean, it ended up working out. I don't think in a good weather game, you're getting away. It's going to be a close game, period. I mean, the Bills are a scary team. You guys was it 2 weeks ago that we were talking about matchups, and I was talking about the Bucs-Bills game, and the guy on the show, Moran, I think it was saying that it wasn't even going to be close. The Bucs are going to wipe them clean, and it looked like it for a little bit, and then the Bills decided to like come back. I'm not like a Bills hater, right? Like I'm excited. I'm excited to have a legit rival in the conference. As cocky as that sounds, it's like I love the Red Sox. I'm a baseball guy too, so I love the Red Sox Yankees. Like I love having somebody come to town to hate. Right? There's nobody. It used to be the Giants, but it's just like they're not even in the same conference. Like now it's tough to hate the. I'm not afraid of Daniel Jones coming into Foxborough. Like whatever. Now I like it. It's like, and even I don't know if you watched the show, but my buddy who's gone to all the stadiums was like, Bills Mafia was undoubtedly the most insane atmosphere that they've been a part of, as far as going to home games. And he bought a JP Losman jersey and rocked that for the game. But it's like, it's fun for me. It's fun to have that. Like, I hope for years to come, it's Mac Jones versus Josh Allen. Like, and I get to come on here with you in another year and talk smack next year about like who's going to be the better quarterback, because they finally let Mac Jones start throwing the ball.
Let's settle down now.
Stop. You had the same reaction when I said the Pats were going to make the playoffs this year. Okay.
Oh my God. No, I didn't. The Pats
laughing at me at the beginning of the year.
That was on the table from day one. But You got to get out of here with that. You got
Come on now.
Well, I did say Mac Jones is going to end up being the best quarterback in the draft, and I'm specifically speaking because he is in the best situation to groom him. Whereas, like, you know, listen, if your boy Zach fell to the Patriots, I think that would have been tremendous for his career, right? You know, but that's besides the point. This week, the Patriots play the Bills, right? When they played last time, 45 carries, over 200 yards, and old school football game. You know, that was as old school as it gets. And me, I love it. Everybody who loves fantasy football was freaking angry because some people started Mac Jones and he only threw the ball 3 times. They're not getting any points off of that, right?
I have my boy Dawson Knox that game. You know,
people started Dawson Knox. Like, you know, it was not a fantasy football game. I would not be surprised if this is another knockout. Now, the Bills, I said this after they lost to the Patriots, and I've been on fire with my calls. When the Patriots lost to the Cowboys and were 2-4, I said they're going to go on a tear because this team they've been in every game and they're going to win a lot of games. Here they are at the top of the division, right? You know, now. But when the Bills lost, you could see in the press conference, like, they were hurt, man. That loss, they took that one personal. Because that wasn't just like it's like a 31-30 game field goal. No, that was like we punched you in the mouth and you could not answer to it. Like, Mac Jones was running the ball on 3rd and 6. Quarterback sneaks, 3rd and 6, picking up first downs. That's crazy, right? So the Bills are going to come out, and I feel like they're going to have a huge chip on their shoulder. I wouldn't be surprised, me personally, if the Bills win this game in like a 14-10 type of game. But what do you guys, obviously, it's natural for you to pick your team, but tell us, what do both of you feel about your team's chances winning this game? A, do you think they're going to win? And if so, what needs to happen? And if not, why not? Matt, how about we start with you?
Yeah. I think Buffalo can win, man. I think we can go in there if the weather is, you know, good. I mean, Josh can sling it no matter what. But if the weather is good and we can, you know, spread out the Patriots, I know they got a good secondary. I know they do. But Dawson Knox has really come on this year. He's a matchup threat against those linebackers. I like him against Dante Hightower. I mean, if they're going to put him or Kyle Duggar, if they're going to match up Kyle Duggar against Dawson Knox. I like Dawson Knox's athleticism against Kyle Duggar. But I think the Bills are going to win, man. I think it's going to be, you know, just like you said, Will, it's going to be, you know, low-scoring game. It's going to be a smack fest. But ultimately, I think the Bills are going to come out on top.
Okay.
We might be seeing some snow on Sunday in Foxborough. So, you know, it could be, and that's the one thing too that I love, you know, about like this rivalry that's going on is like nobody's fearing the weather, right? It's not like Miami's our rival and we're coming up and they're like, oh, well, they've been playing in 90-degree weather down in Tampa. We're going to have them. They're going to be, you know, chapped in their fingers. Like, no, Bills have it worse than we do in Foxborough a lot of times, right? So they're built for this too, and that's where it's like, you know, you got to almost rely on Belichick to out-coach them again. You know, if they think that the Patriots are going to come in and try and slam it down their throats again, I think they got another thing coming. I think they're going to let Mac Jones air the ball out a little bit more and say, like, all right, well, like, as good as this Bills secondary is, like you said, I mean, everybody knows Micah Hyde, right? He's a household name at this point, and Poyer's made a name for himself too back there as that safety tandem. They're going to cover their ground and help their cornerbacks on a lot of that deep stuff that I want Mac Jones to start throwing, right? These might not be the guys to go against to try and do that, but, you know, you can't – I've never seen Bill Belichick just – well, I shouldn't say never. I don't think it's in the Bill Belichick scheme to just take and copy-paste what was successful last game and put it into this scheme. He might do it until it doesn't work anymore. But it's not as if the Bills, you know, like, again, I said that game plan was pretty subjective to the type of weather. Now, I don't know how bad the winds are going to be. It's not like you can't throw the ball in the snow. I think you're going to see Mac Jones at least put the ball in the air at, you know, 20, 25 times. it's going to be a different game. It's going to be very close. I think you are going to see both teams score under 20 points in the game. So, hey, here's right now, take the under. You heard it here first.
Wait, so do you have a pick of the winner, or what would...
I mean, what do you guys want from me? What do you think I'm going to pick?
To be honest, you think you're going to win this game?
Coming out on top. It's the home. It's the home team. They're the home team. They won last game. They're going to take care of business. They're coming off a loss from the Colts.
There we go.
Where they just got the ball shoved down.
All those sentences and not the actual answer to the question that we were looking for.
Sorry, I thought you guys knew that. Like you said, try not to be by. I mean,
no,
like I'm not.
My boys are
gonna take the game at home in Foxborough. They're coming off a loss where Jonathan Taylor just made you eat it, and now they're gonna try and they're not gonna let the Bills score points on them. They're gonna end up winning this game. I don't know, some bizarre score, 18-11. It's going to be one of those what do they call them, the Sudoku scores or something like that?
Weirdos.
Yeah, just one of those bizarre scoring games. So that's my pick. Pats win.
All right. Well, I will complete this little circle. We're going what is this, counterclockwise? With this, circle of predictions. I think that the key to the game are those other guys, like Matt said it before, right? Dawson Knox. All right. I don't think Stephon Diggs will be a factor. Belichick is better than anybody at taking away that top option. So we're gonna need Dawson Knox to step up. You're gonna need Gabriel Davis, sometimes sneaks in there. So that's the key. If those guys get involved, if Motor Singletary is running, on a V8, if they all, are there and here to play, I think that is what it will take to put the Bills over the hump. But if they don't come to play, and that's the thing, Matt said it earlier before, like, which Bills? Are we getting the Jags Bills, all right, or are we getting the Bills
I hope
that smack the Texans, was it 35-0? Like, which Bills, are we getting? So that's a huge factor. Who is going to show up to this game? If those guys show up, then I'm still taking the under either way. I'll tell you that right now. But it would be like, 17-14 Bills as opposed to 14-10 Patriots.
Yeah, I mean,
regardless of what
I was going to say, if the Bills never put up those like stinkers, I would be. I mean, I had the Bills like just as competing with the Chiefs for the top seed in the AFC. Like, I was talking about the Patriots because I was on like the hype train at the beginning of the year, and I was being a homer. But like the Bills, like on paper, I was convinced. Like, I mean, you look down that offense, and it's just like with Josh Allen just putting those quick. Emmanuel Sanders, good route runner. Stephon Diggs, good route runner. Knox came out. I mean, I won't say that he came out of the blue sky, but he started catching the ball a lot better this year when he was getting his hands on it. And then you got Cole Beasley sitting out there, who's just a possession guy, like as your third, maybe even fourth option. Then they go out and pick up Matt Breida, who was a knee injury removed from being the fastest guy in the league. It was just like with this team, and then you had the hype on Moss and Singletary. It was like, this is going to be a crazy team because it was scary. Now that team shows up not every week. When they do, they can beat anybody in this league for sure.
That's the beauty of football, because as you guys talk about which Bills team is going to show up, I'll tell you a version that you haven't seen yet is going to show up, because this game is personal. This game is personal. It doesn't matter what the final score is going to be. But I really feel that the Bills are going to win. Now, they may lose, but I feel like for the Patriots to win this game, the Patriots have to play perfect football, no turnovers, right? I feel like the Bills are going to bring everything they have, because that last loss was embarrassing, and they're going to find a way to win this game. Now, if they don't win this game, the AFC playoff picture changes big time, because right now there are 6. The Bills sit in the 7th seed in the AFC at 8-6, right? At 8-6, and the Patriots are 9-5. So just one game ahead of them. The Patriots are the 2nd ranked team. So the race is close. And behind the Bills at the 7th seed are 6 teams that are within one game of them. So if the Bills lose, they can find themselves in a position of being outside of the playoff picture, looking in. If you look at the remaining teams on the schedule, it's going to be a photo finish for sure. So obviously, Matt, your team has to take care of business to stay alive in this picture. What teams, make you a little bit nervous that are behind you? You got the Ravens, the Steelers, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Browns, and the Broncos. What teams, make you feel just a little nervous about potentially catching you?
Yeah, I mean, well, it goes to this game this week. This is a must-win for the Bills because, like you said, if we lose, we're probably on the outside looking in. It helps that we have Atlanta and then the Jets to end out the season. So that could help us get back into the playoff picture. But I would say I'm nervous about the Steelers, man. I think Big Ben still has a little bit left in the tank. Mike Tomlin is one of the best coaches in the league. They got T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. It's not like the Steelers are, some scrub team. When they can go, they can go. So I like the Steelers, trying to make that final push. I think Cleveland's done, honestly. They got a lot of turmoil going on. Baker's been having a tough year internally and externally. It seems like he's got voices, coming from every direction telling him that he's not the future over there, it seems like. But yeah, I mean, in my eyes, the team that I think is the scariest right now going into the playoffs is the Chiefs. I mean, if you watch the Chiefs, it looks like they're back. And that is really scary in the AFC to see that, the Chiefs are, what are they now, 10-4, right? In the top of the AFC West. So if they get home field advantage, if they win out and everybody else kind of falls by the wayside and the Chiefs get home field advantage in that first round bye, that's a scary thing for the AFC.
Yeah, you know what? Great points. As far as the Steelers are concerned, they beat you guys earlier in the year. And if it came down to a tiebreaker, they have an actual tie on their record. So, it would be, if you guys finish with like the same win percentage, I don't even know if that's possible anymore. But, if they keep hanging in there, one loss could change that. Because if you have 7 losses, they only have 6 because they have a tie, right? So that's why winning this game is absolutely crucial. And I do think that the last 2 games of the season, like you said, are they look like cupcake games right now, but these teams are always trying to play spoiler.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, against the Jets, that is a cupcake game. So don't worry about that.
They're worried about draft position, right? They want to lose. They want that high pick.
Oh,
well, we thought that last year, and then they went off and they won the game and hit the number 1 pick. So you never know. You never know. Who knows? You never know. You never know what you're going to get with the Jets. But I wouldn't pick them to beat you guys either. So this is the playoff game. Like you are here. This is the playoff game. What now? Aside from the Buffalo,
it would actually be pretty crazy. I'm so sorry. I just want to say, because the Bills, like, I actually agree. Like, before the season, it was the Bills, the Chiefs, and the Browns that were like, who is going to win the AFC? Those are the 3,
the hype.
Right? And Baker, I think Baker has proved himself to be Faker Mayfield. I don't want to like be like everybody else, just bashing him, but like, he is one of the absolute best. Like I'm saying, top 5 O-line in all of football. They've given him not 1, but 2 elite running backs, right, to take the pressure off of him, and not 1, but 2 Pro Bowl receivers. Now I know one's gone now, but like from a GM standpoint, What more can you do when on the other side of the ball you got Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward? They just picked up Clowney. They were, So I got to call him Faker Mayfield. How much of a disappointment for you would it be if the Bills also find themselves out of the playoff picture the way that the Browns seemingly are, given their expectations at the beginning of the year?
Oh, it'd be huge. It'd be huge. I mean, like I said, my best moment so far has been last year's AFC Championship run. I want a Super Bowl, and Bills Mafia wants to get there, and we came into this season, with those expectations. Now, does that mean, if things go bad, are we going to, jump ship? Definitely not. I mean, we're Bills Mafia till we die. We always got our teams back. But it'll definitely be, it'll hurt. It'll hurt for sure if we don't at least make, a deep playoff run. Those were expectations. Make a deep playoff run, get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, listen, one thing that I could say that I know CJ earlier was, talking about McDermott and Dable, but at least they're not going to do what Harbaugh did, man. Harbaugh actually lost 2 games in a row, and they're currently sitting on the outside looking in now because instead of just tying the game, he went for 2. I get it, but if it didn't work last week, why would you do it again this week, right? Now, if the Ravens don't make the playoffs, they are going to have a lot. They're not going to fire Harbaugh. Harbaugh is a great coach. He's probably going to be the Baltimore coach until he decides to retire. He's been so consistent with that franchise. But this is when that conversation starts. All right, maybe we should move on.
Yeah.
So this is when that conversation begins. With the Ravens now, the week 16, which is this week, you got the Cincinnati Bengals against the Baltimore Ravens. And that game could be for the division. To the Ravens' credit, or to their benefit, following this matchup, if they win, the Bengals have to go home to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and then they end the season with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So, man, the Bengals probably have the roughest, toughest schedule remaining out of any team. If they hang in there, it's going to be great. But, hey, this is something that could help out the Buffalo Bills, right?
Oh, definitely, man.
This could help out the Bills. I mean, if they get a couple losses, that helps you further, stay in this top 7 picture. But, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can see the Bengals losing all 3 of these games, to be quite honest. They got the Ravens. And can I ask a question? Is Tyler Huntley the next Tyrod Taylor coming the backup for the Ravens to be the next starter for some team? Tyler Huntley can ball, dude. He can
literally had this same conversation yesterday, but go ahead.
Yeah. The dude can ball. I'd give him a flyer if I'm a team that needs a quarterback. I'd try to sign him off the Ravens quick or trade for him, a little late round pick. But I can totally see the Bengals, losing all these 3 games. And that's why I said I can see the Steelers kind of creeping in to that last, wild card spot if the Chargers kind of falter a little bit here at the end as well and kind of fall out. I don't think the Colts are. I think the Colts are going to maintain and get a wild card berth, maybe even the division. But I can see the Titans holding on. I think the Titans are a pretty balanced football team, even without Julio and AJ Brown and Derrick Henry. I think Vrabel's a great coach, and I think he's going to get them to win the division again this year.
Definitely a great coach.
Yeah, Vrabel is he's a great coach.
Yeah, no, he's a phenomenal coach. Let's look at the Ravens' schedule. The Ravens got the Bengals this week. Next week, they take on the LA Rams. Now, here's the story with that. The Rams were forced to play, on Tuesday. So it's a short week for the Rams. And then they have to turn around, and they got a game this week, obviously. And it's on a very short week. So that puts them at a disadvantage. And the Minnesota Vikings, who are fighting for playoff position, have got to be licking their chops to play the Rams this upcoming week on a short week. So that means the following week, when they play the Ravens, this Rams team who is trying not to fall out of the playoff picture, the Ravens are going to get a Rams team, and then they end the season with their biggest rival, one of the biggest rivals in football, against the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard. Harbaugh he's got to be up all night wondering why he went for 2 weeks in a row, because the end of this season is going to be hard. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to get your popcorn ready, because it's going down in the AFC. These games and the games it's like the playoffs have officially begun in the AFC. Just about. All these games are must-win games. It's great stuff. But right now, you sit in the driver's seat. You know, you hold the keys to your own fate. All you got to do is win.
Yep.
And your team has the I would say, the more favorable remaining schedule. Get this game out the way against the Patriots. That'll be a big win. And then take care of business with the last 2 weeks.
Just take a nap. Take a nap for the next 2 weeks. You'll be fine.
Don't take a nap, because that's what the Cardinals did against the Lions, and look what happened to them. Right? Don't take a nap. Never sleep on any team. But hey,
but if you take NyQuil before the Jets game, that's fine. Just be drowsy. That's cool. That's cool. I'm telling you, this boy Zach Wilson. We're hoping next year. That's what we're gonna say. We're hoping next year.
Let's just hope he's not Mike White against the Bills, man. What Mike White throw 5 interceptions against the Bills? Hopefully it's better than that performance.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of the few Jets fans. Don't tell anyone. This is a secret. I'm one of the few Jets fans that wishes Mike White actually finished out the season. I really do think that he gives the Jets the best chance to win. And we have a lot of young receivers. Like we had Elijah Moore before he went down. I really wish that they actually had the opportunity to play with someone that's at least going to get them the ball like in the right area. Even though, obviously, he has his duds, right? He doesn't have the arm talent. But when he makes a decision, hey, I'm going to hit Elijah Moore, I mean, we were averaging 435 yards per game. There is no back-to-back 2-game period where Zach Wilson's passing totals have combined for over 435 yards, which Mike White was doing by himself. When he tries to throw to Elijah Moore, it hits the dirt. So, I wish, Mike White, he got that Nickelodeon's Choice Award. He got his jersey up in Canton. That's probably it for him.
Yeah, the Mike White hype train, that was a fast start. It was like, that happened way too fast. Once they start comparing him to Brady, but he did I still think he has a bright future in the NFL. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with him.
What do you guys prefer? You prefer Mike White or the magic of Linsanity?
Oh, Linsanity. Linsanity had me going Linsane. Linsanity was Mike White. That didn't last long enough. Linsanity was taking over for a couple of months. It was sad to see him go to another team. Linsanity carried over to LA when he called Kobe off. He called Kobe off. He was at the top of the key. And Kobe was like, give me the ball. He was like, nah. And even though he scored, Kobe put his arm around him and was like, young blood, if you ever do that again, I will take you back to Taiwan. Please know that, right? But let's talk about the NBA while we're on the topic now. Let's talk about the NBA this week against the New York Knicks. History was made where the man, Stephen the Chef Curry, broke the 3-point buckets record. And he goes down in history as the greatest shooter of all time, unless anybody wants to argue against that. But
somebody is, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There are some people who will argue against it.
His name is Ray Allen.
Oh, well. Ray Allen, of course, is a little biased.
Did you see the quote? Yeah, Ray Allen's trying to say, nah, you can't just say it's Steph. Everyone has their own opinions. That's why I'm really excited to do this list. That's all I got to say about that.
Jesus Shuttlesworth is definitely feeling some type of way, right? Because, listen, I will say this. If Ray Allen was allowed to shoot 8 to 10 threes a game, maybe, just maybe the record would have been pushed out because Ray Allen came into the league where it's still a little bit more traditional. You come up court, you run the offense, you try to get open for a three. Steph just pulling up off the dribble. He do whatever he want. And it's buckets galore. But I will say, I don't know if Ray Allen can get the shot. I don't think he can create the shots that Steph creates. So regardless of what Ray Allen says, I'm going to say Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. But fellas, who are your top 5 shooters of all time?
Should we go like, say all of our number ones and then all of our
let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah,
let's do that. So does anybody disagree with Steph being the greatest shooter of all time?
No, hell no. Not even close.
It's not even. Thank you, because that would have been wasted time on this sportscast to even mention another name. So Steph is number 1, undoubtedly, unquestionably, factual. Steph is the man. Now, who's in there number 2?
Yes. I'm saying Matt's the guest. So
Matt, you lead us off.
You do your number.
Who's
2.
your number 2 shooter of all time?
Jesus Shuttlesworth, Ray Allen. He's number 2.
Jesus Shuttlesworth, right?
Yes,
you know what? I have to agree with you on that one. I don't think it's a question. Shuttlesworth is the number 2 shooter of all time, in my opinion.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say nay to Ray.
And you're gonna pick somebody whose name rhymes.
Klay Thompson himself. I'm telling you, Klay Thompson. I don't want to say it's disrespect, because I do think people realize how good he is. I think it's really more, they show the meme of like the last time that Klay played an NBA game, like Westbrook was on the Thunder, what I'm saying? Like that literally seems like ages ago. AD was on the Pelicans, like that, it's been a long time since we've seen Klay play. But I mean, make no mistake about it, when Klay Thompson is hot, we've actually never really seen something like it. Like the man just catches the ball wherever he is, and it's good. Like that's why he has the record for most threes in a game. Like we've seen it happen time and time again. 37-point quarters, 60-point games. Yeah. Like, people want to disrespect him and call him, Kyle Korver, which I'm not trying to disrespect Kyle Korver by saying that. Yeah. But Korver, he gets hot. But like Klay, he can create his own shot. Obviously, doesn't have handles like Steph, but he can create his own shot. And when he gets hot, I'm telling you, it's like magma. Like it's not anything that we have ever seen from anyone in the league. The only reason why he is not my pick, obviously, for number 1, is because Steph can do it from all angles. He can do it off the dribble. He can do all this. But I'll tell you this: if someone had a gun to my head and they said, "Hey, James Wudi, you need to pass to someone and they need to hit this 3 or you die," and I'm throwing a chest pass, I'm actually throwing that chest pass to Klay Thompson to save my life. That's
Steph.
Hey, when Klay saved my bed, you dead. That's crazy.
Hey, if the deal is that the person has to make a dribble move, okay, Steph all day. I'll take Steph. But if it is just a chest pass, catch and shoot for my life, I am taking Klay Thompson over anyone who's ever played the game.
Okay.
I'm even going to say Steph he's the best catch and shoot shooter, the best off the dribble shooter. He is literally the best shooter. Like his form in his release is the quickest and it's the most consistent. It's great. But I'm not saying that to disrespect Klay. I'm just saying you're my boy. So if somebody put a gun in your head, I hope you get that answer right. And don't be a fanboy and pick Klay over Steph. So, that's all I'm saying. But all right, so I got Jesus Shuttlesworth as number 2. Matt's got Jesus Shuttlesworth as number 2. Wudi, do you have Jesus Shuttlesworth as number 3 or no?
I do.
All right, you do. All right. So how about we start with your number 3, Matt? Unless you had something colorful that you wanted to say about, he got game.
Nah, man. Well, first of all, Wudi, who's comparing Klay to Kyle Korver, man? Who are you talking to on the street that's like Klay Thompson's the same as Kyle? Oh, like what? I tell them to walk away. That's not even a discussion. Like that's just ludicrous right there. Holy crap.
that was pretty bad. I'm glad you checked him on his circle.
But I've literally heard that. So you're right. I have a couple of people to block.
Take right there. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Oh man.
Nah, man. If we're moving down the list, at number 3, I got Reggie Miller as my greatest shooter of all time.
You got Reggie over Clay.
I got Reggie over Clay. Yes, just because of longevity right now. I mean, I think Clay in the long run will be up there. I mean, he'll probably be top 3 when it's all said and done. He'll probably beat out Reggie. But as of right now, I mean, I got to see it when Clay comes back. Hopefully he comes back and he's the same old Clay. But like Wudi said, he hasn't played in, what has it been, 2 years now? We got to see if he's back, and I'm sure his stroke's fine. I'm sure he can still shoot the lights out of the ball. But, is he going to have the stamina? Is his knee going to hold up? Is he going to continue to have, injury problems moving ahead? So right now, number 3, it's going to be Reggie Miller for me.
Man, that is a great pick. You know why? Because that's my number 3 greatest shooter of all time, man. Reggie Miller, yes, right? Sir. Now, listen, I beg that if Reggie played in today's NBA, I would say he may be up there with Steph Curry in as far as making shots. Reggie played in an era where and he played under Larry Brown. Come on, Larry Brown don't really want to take threes. Larry Brown run the offense, come off screen, take this mid-range shot. But Reggie was taking that mid-range out to the three-point line, turning around and just getting buckets. I feel like in this era, Reggie would be one of the best three-point shooters. So stats aside, I also have to agree that, in my opinion, Reggie Miller is the 3rd greatest shooter at all time. So far, Matt, our lists are identical. We got the Chef, we got He Got Game, and we got Reggie. Wudi has a different list over here. He's got the Chef, he's got Clay, gun to your head, Clay, and then he's got Shuttlesworth, right? So now we at number 4. Matt, who's your guy? Who's the 4th greatest shooter of all time?
Oh, this when it starts getting down to 4 and 5, there's a lot of guys that can come into play. But I'm gonna go with Harden, man. James Harden.
Really?
He's gonna be number 4 for me. James Harden. His jumper is nice, and I think he's one of the smoothest shooters out there.
That is well. We're gonna hear what I didn't say. But
our list definitely about to not be in synonymous anymore. But it's not gonna be in sync anymore. That pick made me that face I made is like when my stomach hurt and I gotta go to the bathroom. Man, but no, I'm not gonna disrespect James Harden. He can shoot, right? And I feel like he's a volume shooter more than anything. But he will put up 18 threes and make like 6 of them.
But yeah, he's 50, 40, 90. He's been a 50, 40, 90, I believe.
Yeah, he has been a 50, 40, 90. Yeah. I do think he's underrated, like as a shooter. So it's really not the worst pick. If I had to name top players that I don't like their game.
He hates James Harden.
I don't like James Harden's game. But I'm not going
to. He wants to fight him.
I'm not going. I wouldn't want to fight James Harden. We don't need to have a celebrity boxing match. I ain't weight like that, but I'll take it though. If we can get it going, sign me up, James Harden. I'm gonna knock the beard off. How about that? Have you looking like a Ninja Turtle at the end of the day, right? Anyway, so I'll give you my 4th best shooter of all time. The stats don't do this man justice, but the legend, Larry Bird, is the 4th greatest shooter. Larry, it's said, and even if you go watch NBA classics, right? When the Celtics needed a bucket, it's almost like he could not miss the shot. It's almost like he was incapable of missing the shot, right? We're all younger, right? So even I was really young when Larry was playing. So I'm a basketball historian. I wish that I got to watch Larry play in my prime. I wish I could watch Larry play today. We talk about Klay Thompson and those guys. There's in no possible way, shape, or form can Larry Bird not be in my top 5 shooters. So I'm going with Larry the Legend as the 4th greatest shooter ever.
I think both of you had really good number 4 picks. They both are in my top 10, Harden and Larry. For sure. Larry specifically is probably my pick for maybe the most underrated shooter of all time because, the era, right? Like, no one was, prolifically, shooting up threes in his time the way that now, like, someone like Damian Lillard, right, kind of has more of a rep as a 3-point shooter or, as a better shooter than Larry. But if Larry played today, like Will's point, for Reggie, you can make that same point for Larry. And he would, I think he would be with the best of the best. Harden, also underrated as a shooter. Everyone, he's the target of the foul rule. But I personally think he's one of the most skilled. He's obviously very crafty. And his shot, I mean, it's knocked down. It's knocked down. That being said, my 4th, I'm actually not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. You guys actually bullied me. If I showed the paper, my 4th was actually Ray Allen. But I will just switch the order because I'll say my number the person that I wrote down as number 3 for number 4, and that is your number 3, Reggie Miller.
Okay. Now, I am really curious for this 5th one. All of our number 4s were a little bit different. Well, 2 of them haven't been mentioned yet, right? But this 5th one here
is going to be crazy. This 5th one is crazy.
Is going to be very, very interesting. And Matt, who do you have to round out your top 5 and greatest shooters ever?
Gotta go Kyle Korver. Korver. I mean,
wait a second.
Player. That was his job. Come in there, knock down. You have one job, dude.
I recognize this too.
Yeah, come in and knock down the 3, and that's what he did, man. I mean, he was when he broke out. I mean, he really broke out on the Hawks that one year when the Hawks, came first in the East. His shooting was just lights out, and then playing with LeBron and knocking down all those trays to help Cleveland out. That was awesome.
How are you gonna say who is comparing Clay to Kyle Korver? And then Kyle Korver is on this list above Clay?
Well, again.
Well, he did say that Clay, the absence, he penalized him for the absence. So he did say that.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Clay is going to be on this list when it's all like when he's done. Clay is going to be on this list for sure, 100%.
All right, fair enough. So let me ask you, if this is, I don't know if this is legacy, if these lists, but this list for me is gun to the head list, right? If you had that gun to the head, are you passing it to Kyle Korver or Klay Thompson or James Harden right now?
Klay Thompson. Yeah, I'll eat my crow. Yeah, Klay Thompson.
No, it's okay. No, because we made these lists differently, so legacy matters. Clay. But
yeah, no, Klay. I pick Klay. Gun to my head. Out of those 3 options,
Jeez,
I mean, you can give Harden 20 shots and he'll probably make a couple. he'll make a few. But Klay will be like 18 for 20, so that would help out.
No, that's fair. Will, first I want to know, would you agree with that answer? If you had actually, who was your number 4? It was Larry Bird. Larry Bird
was my number 4.
Yeah, so Larry Bird or Klay Thompson, gun to the head. You need to pass it to someone to save your life.
I'm going with Larry. It's not even a second thought because Larry is not going to miss the shot. Like, Larry's going to be like, oh, they're going to try to kill you. I got you. His form is like this too. Like, I love it. It's like, I'm going with Larry.
Okay.
Klay a little goofy, man. Klay is ridiculous, right? But Clay don't care about nobody that's not on the Golden State Warriors, right? They don't care about nobody in life unless they buying his shoes that are his brand is from Asia or whatever. Clay will miss the shot and be like, "Dang, I'm sorry, man. I'll take care of your family though." He might at least do that, but I'm trying to live. I'm going with the legend. I'm going with the legend all day in that regard. Like if it came down to one shot. Now, my top 5 shooter. This is going to be a surprise to a lot of people, but listen, I'm unbiased. In my opinion, this shooter is still writing the scripts to his career, but I have never seen somebody who can shoot the ball so effortlessly, so consistent.
Oh my God.
Even doing this, coming back from an injury that a lot of people don't really play the same once they have to come back from this.
Oh, okay.
Easy money sniper is the 5th best shooter of all time, in my opinion, is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a borderline 7-footer that can shoot the lights out of the ball, and that's not even what he does most. I mean, he can do everything, but if you put him on a team where he could just shoot, it's going to be ridiculous. He might put up Steph and Clay numbers, if he's just on a team where he can just shoot, but he's always going to be the best player on his team, So my 5th best shooter is absolutely Kevin Durant.
I don't think that's a surprise. He's actually 6th on my list. I actually think you guys pretty much just did a top, my personal top 10, right? Because, Harden is on there. Larry is definitely on there. Larry's probably 7. And Korver, I think Korver deserves to be in the top 10. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he deserves to be on there as well. So I think you guys just, did my top 10 because this 5th person is someone that's like an actual surprise. Will, you got me nervous as a Suns fan. I thought, you were going to say something outrageous like Devin Booker, but
come on, man.
Well, you said he's still writing the script.
Disrespect me like that. You could at least say you thought I was going to say Steve Nash because Steve Nash is in my top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I'd put Steve Nash in top 10.
Would you guys?
I would.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I feel much more confident saying that my number 5 pick for the best shooter of all time is my man, Steve Nash.
Wow, I did not see that coming. Wow.
Oh, my God. We're looking for a surprise. I wrote him down. Steve Nash is out here.
Wow.
You want to talk about 50, 40, 90. Oh, yeah. I mean, they should call that the Steve Nash Club. One of the best free throw shooters of all time. That stroke, it was just so pure. And another guy who can get it off the dribble, of all these guys, he's probably the least athletic. Yeah. But he just didn't need that much space. He was still getting these shots off. It was a beauty to watch him play. I completely agree. I wish we could have watched Larry play consistently in his prime. Steve Nash is someone who I'm very grateful for being able to watch play the game.
Nasty Nash. That's what I used to call him, man. Steve Nasty. In your top 5, number 6 for me. But listen, that's a great list. One thing that cannot be debated is the shooters that we named all belong on the list. In the top 10 for sure. That top 5 after the top 1, it's debatable all the way through. So great stuff. Now, let's close out the show with one of my favorite segments here where, Matt, what we do is you're going to look directly into your camera and you are going to speak to any sports player, any sports franchise, any sports fan base, anyone. Right? It can even be a media personality. Mm-hmm. But it's this time for this person to hear you out, right? So tell us what's on your mind. Who needs to hear Matt Moyer out?
I think you guys know where I'm going with this. I'm talking to you, Buffalo Bills, everybody on the squad, from the coaches to the players to the GMs to the people who working in the stadium. We have to. This is a must-win Buffalo. I mean, that last loss to the Patriots was a tough one. It was a tough one. Home field advantage. You know, coming in, weather was supposed to be, you know, Buffalo weather. You know, we're feeling good, and we drop it. You know, but I'm looking at you, Josh Allen. I'm looking at you, Sean McDermott. I'm looking at you, Stephon Diggs. I'm looking at you, Trey Edmonds, on defense. You better set the tone. Smack somebody in the mouth and shut them down. Take down the Patriots, win the division, and let's go on another run this year. Let's go, Buffalo.
Woo!
Wow.
Goodness, you got me wanting the Buffalo Bills to run the table at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Man, that's right. Nobody circles the wagon like Matt Moyer. That was like that. That was fast. That was good.
Incredible.
That was good. I loved it. So, you know what? I want to keep with this thing.
Okay.
I'm going to talk to the Dallas Cowboys right now, right? Because the Dallas Cowboys, we were just gifted with a Tampa Bay loss, and we are the 2nd seed in the NFC right now. We've been winning games, but we haven't been looking great, but that's okay. You'll take an ugly win. But the reason we don't look like the same offense right now as we did at the beginning of the season is because we cannot run the ball. So Jerry, Steven, Mike McCarthy, Kellen Moore, and anybody else, all your wives, all your mamas, whoever needs to convince you, sit Ezekiel Elliott for a couple weeks before the playoffs begin. Don't bank on trying to get the number 1 seed and having a bye week. We cannot run the ball right now. Zeke got hurt against Denver. He's been playing on a bum knee. You haven't handed him the ball, more than 15 times in weeks. I think last week he had 16 carries on accident. It is time to sit down Zeke. Let him rest. In the playoffs, we need to run the football. The defense is playing like we need the defense, a playoff defense to play. But we need to grind it out, run the clock. I don't care about anything else. Zeke said you're going to have to carry him off the field. Zeke, I don't want you carried off the field. Sit his butt down and let's go. Let Tony Pollard run the show for the rest of the season. Sit Zeke. That's what I have to say.
Wow.
I like it. I like it for my fantasy, too. Well, I mean, the playoffs are going to be over, but, you know. I like it. That got me hyped. I want Zeke to go out there and get me like 35 points right now, you know. Let him loose. Sit him down and let him loose. That's what I like.
If we win the division this week, because it looks like the Redskins oops. Hey, Stab, we're going to need you to bleep out that I said that word. If the Washington football team, they just lost to the Eagles, right? Well, you know, obviously. But now we can finish the job with a win against them this Sunday. And if we wrap up the division, yes, I know we're trying to get the number 1 seed, but listen, sit Zeke. Let him rest. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, that's nice. It's actually great, right? You know, Bills Mafia, you know, Bills fans, speak to those Bills. You know, Cowboys fans, speak to them boys. I'll tell you guys right now, I have absolutely nothing to say to the Jets. So do not expect that. All right, that's not happening. I don't even have anything to say to Tibbs and those boys either. This is a Mets shirt. I don't even like baseball, so I got nothing to say about New York right now. I'm
not even a team with the same colors.
No. This I'm going to speak to a person, and you know, something that I think is you know, when we talk about sports, and we just did this list, right, and we're talking about legacy, right? Legacy. That's something that is synonymous with sports. So I want to speak to one person who just about 3 years ago was a universal, a consensus, without the shadow of a doubt, Hall of Famer. If someone came up to you on the street and said this person wasn't a Hall of Famer, like Moyer said, you got to walk away if this was 2018. But right now, you know, there's been a lot of slander. There's been a lot of things going on. And hey, some of it maybe even most of it, has been your fault. But what happened? You have a Hall of Fame mentor that literally lets you sleep in his house. And as a result, last year, after being blackballed from the entire league, Antonio Brown, you can call yourself part of the 2022 Super Bowl champions. Well, guess what, AB? We know, or at least I know, you haven't lost a step. Right? There was things going on. Okay. There were things happening. All right. But none of it was related to your talent on the field. So right now, right here, right now, Godwin is gone. This is your moment on the biggest stage with the biggest team to show that you are still the same Hall of Fame wide receiver that you always been. Okay? Forget about all the different locker room antics. Forget about being the superstar. Right now, it's time for you to nut up and shut up and just go out there, play hard, and win. And prove to the world once again that you are that dude.
Tell it like it is, tell it like it was, and tell it like it's going to be. Listen, great stuff. Antonio Brown, Bills Mafia, Cowboys Nation, hear us out. The passionate fans who watch you guys from afar every day, 24/7. We take no days off in this sports game. And it's been a pleasure. Matt, we got to have you back on the show again, hopefully soon, very soon. It was a pleasure to have you come on here, do your thing, and represent Bills Mafia. We'll definitely link up talking about how the Bills finished the season. So great stuff. Wudi, you got anything to say?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you to Matt. Huge thank you for coming on. I know, you've been watching some episodes, you wanted to, be a part of it. So I'm glad we're able to make it work. And you were incredible. You had the best, hear me out. I'm sure, anybody watching this is like, hey, I'm hoping the Bills, win this game, So it's definitely been a great time. I can't wait for the next time. And forget about the Jets. They suck.
Guys, just want to say thank you. Thanks for having me on. I've had a blast. Anytime you want me on, man, I'd love to talk more about the Bills. Anytime.
Awesome. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, check out Matt Moyer's social media handles at the end of the show. It'll flash right here, right now. You see it right there. But ladies and gentlemen, this concludes another episode of the Side to Side Sportscast. We want to hear you out. Come on the show. Call it how you see it. Call it how you saw it. Call out the people who didn't see it how you saw it. But that's all we got for tonight. We out.